I am Jim Collison, and live from our home studios, this is Gallup's Theme Thursday, Season 6, recorded on April 9th, 2020. Theme Thursday is a Gallup webcast series that dives deep into the CliftonStrengths themes, one theme at a time. This season, developing teams and managers with CliftonStrengths, and today's theme is self-assurance. If you're listening live, love to have you join us in the chat room. There's a link right above me, right up there. That'll take you to the YouTube channel. Sign into the chat room. That is there. If you have questions after the fact, you can always send us an email. And we're waiting for your emails, by the way. Send them to us, coaching@gallup.com. Don't forget, subscribe on YouTube. There's a little subscription button right below Micah. Down there, you can subscribe and get a notification every time we go live. And if you want to do what the cool kids are doing and listen to us as a podcast, you can do that by downloading the podcast or streaming it. It's available on any podcast app. Just search Gallup Webcasts and you'll find it there. Micah Librant is our host today. She's a workplace consultant here at Gallup. And Micah, always great to have you on a Theme Thursday. Welcome back.
Jim, it's so great to be here. I have to say, I typically watch previous seasons of self-assurance of Theme Thursday in order to prepare for these. And I especially love season 1, which was all about just learning to love all 34 themes and making sure that this language that we're speaking, that we call sort of common, truly is common. And really cool programming note about self-assurance. I watched season 1 yesterday, and it was recorded on April 14th of 6 years ago. And here we are with tens of millions more people having taken CliftonStrengths between then and now, and a whole community of people who show up every Thursday to further our learning. So it's really fun to get to be here. If you've been listening to season 6 up until now, you know that we're almost finished alphabetically, domain by domain. We're almost finished with the influencing domain. We're at least into the S's. So there's self-assurance, significance, and woo yet to go to finalize the influencing domain. We're going domain by domain because season 6 is all about managers and teams. And very often, an easy way for managers to truly understand the DNA of their team is to look at them by those 4 leadership domains: executing, influencing, relationship building, and strategic thinking. However, that also brings with it, I think, sometimes a danger to just lump people into one of 4 different categories when truly people are so much more than that, more complicated than that. So I hope by the end of our time together today, we've helped you unpack the theme of self-assurance so that you don't just have to say, oh, it means they're an influencer, but really as a member of your team or as a manager who's leading a group of people, you can think, how uniquely does self-assurance truly influence, and how can we set them up to be their best selves and to honor the talents that we have as part of our team? So we're going to do this through the 5 truths of strong teams that comes from our research into leadership. You can read more about those 5 truths in the book Strengths-Based Leadership. Let's start here with the definition of self-assurance. If you have dominant self-assurance, you feel confident in your ability to take risks and manage your own life. You have an inner compass that gives you certainty in your decisions. And the first truth of a strong team is how they approach conflict. It's that conflict doesn't destroy a strong team because strong teams focus instead on results.
And what does it mean to focus on results for someone with self-assurance?
So in season 1, as I was watching this, Kurt Liesfeld calls self-assurance an internal confidence to try. Self-assurance is about trusting your own gut. So likely they'll experience flow, experience excellence, experience an ability to work really hard toward results that matter to them from their own internal confidence. If you think back up to this truth, it isn't just about results, it's also about results outweighing the importance of conflict. So any team conflict or conflict that might be happening among people might derail them. Self-assurance doesn't get derailed by that, because as long as self-assurance is working on a goal or results that they know in their inner compass is important, it's about that ability to really focus on those instead.
I'll be intrigued by your answer to this question, but how does self-assurance track progress?
This is cool. How close are we to where I know we need to be? And what hurdles do I know we need to clear in order to get closer? Self-assurance might track progress by sorting out not just what is measurable, but what's really, truly meaningful. So their attention to progress might invite critical feedback, really opening up to whether our progress matters, whether these goals are really the essential goals, or whether the end that we're aiming for is the most important thing. And I think if we need to change direction, that'll also come from within, from trusting sort of their own inner compass, and they're okay with that despite what other people may say.
I think for coaches, because this is so low in our database, we don't see this a lot. And Mike, I think what you said is really, really important. Like, I think we need to study this one because it's misunderstood in a lot of ways.
Sure.
And so as we think about these questions here, coaches, I want you to really kind of zero in on these answers because I think we just need to kind of study it more and understand it better. Speaking of that, let's go to number 2.
And by low on our database, you mean infrequent in people's top 5?
Correct. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
Thanks for.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, self-assurance doesn't show up as a dominant theme for as many people as a whole bunch of other themes do. It's
Right.
consistently in the bottom 5 when we rank order how frequently it shows up as a dominant
shows up in people's
theme.
top 5s. So
Yeah.
you just don't see it as, I don't think you just see it
Sure.
as much in the wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
So number 2.
Number 2, strong teams prioritize what's best for the organization and then they get going. They move forward.
So how does someone with self-assurance focus on a larger goal or a kind of a purpose other than its own? Again, clue, listen to this, coaches, because it's good.
Yeah, I think the truth is about where we put our energy, and someone with self-assurance will throw their full emotional weight behind something they know in their gut to be true, to be important, to be worthwhile. So ask them what they believe is best for the organization. Help them identify something they know to be powerful. Something shared by other people will certainly expand that certainty beyond just themselves. Help them, again, by asking for their insight on what needs to be shared or what needs to be more broadly understood about the organization, about the team. It's offering an opportunity for that person to lend their certainty to a worthy cause. And that's a great way to expand the focus beyond self.
Yeah. What would inspire or what does inspire someone with self-assurance to take action?
An opportunity to further a realization or importance or a truth that they know on their own in their gut to be meaningful. Also, the chance to influence based on what they know to be internally true. And also, sometimes I think what inspires people with self-assurance is an affront or a confrontation on something that matters to them. So often self-assurance might fly under the radar. It's not command. We'll talk about command, or we already have, haven't we? That's more about the ability to quickly and effortlessly delegate and guide others. It's almost more external than self-assurance is. Self-assurance is about your own internal confidence to manage your life, to manage your decisions. So when someone with self-assurance is put in a place that challenges those decisions or those choices, they'll sort it out on a gut level, and they might in fact do really well exploring truth and implications of their choices when they're challenged or when they're put to the test.
Let's look at number 3.
Number 3, members of strong teams are as committed to their personal lives as they are to their work.
And so how does self-assurance show up maybe in someone's personal life?
They're not easily swayed by popular opinions or trends. This might translate as confidence, but I've coached plenty of people with self-assurance who tell me they don't feel confident and they don't like it when it looks like confidence on their talent profile. And I think if we really dive into self-assurance, it's not the same thing as all-encompassing confidence. But what it does equal is trusting yourself more than you trust outside influence. And when that happens, when someone knows they're certain about what they're doing, they can look pretty unstoppable, and that can look like confidence. So in someone's personal life, self-assurance might look like a comfort with risk that no one else is taking. Now, they probably don't set out to say, I'm going to do this because it's divergent or because it's independent. They probably are just not paying attention to what other people are doing as much as they are tuning into their own compass, their own voice, their own. I'm trying not to quote Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story 4, where he says, listen to your own internal voice. But that's what self-assurance is. It's tuning in to what your own voice is saying. It might look like a lack of fear when it comes to being alone, or when it comes to taking the less popular path, again, because that voice comes from within in a louder way than the voices that they hear of other people.
Because this season we're kind of focusing on teams and managers, where we ask this question of how could a manager, so knowing this in someone's personal life, maybe seeing that, how could they tap into it on the using self-assurance for the team?
What guides your decision making? What do you know you should be doing more of? What gives you certainty? When do you feel most at peace? What do you rely on other people for? What is the best way someone else can support you?
By the way, those questions could be great coaching questions as well, as we think about it, or teaching managers to ask those questions as well. Let's look at number 4.
Number 4, the fourth truth of a strong team is that they embrace diversity. Now, diversity is a much bigger issue than just having a variety of CliftonStrengths themes. But when we talk about this one, we want to be able to say, what does self-assurance bring that nobody else does, that offers a differing opinion and a different experience, a different lens on the problem that your team is facing?
Micah, I have to say, I'm going to just go off the script for a little bit. For just a moment. The notes are really good for self-assurance. Like, the descriptors we're going to talk about. So what are some descriptors for self-assurance? Typically it would just be a single column. You did like 2 column, like things were highlighted really well. I mean, so nice.
It's probably because I did Maximizer right before it. And it was not fancy or pretty. I color coded things.
You did. I was like, wow, these
you
notes
can actually read it. Well, maybe it's also harkening back to season 5 of Self-Assurance, which, as you remember, was the one where I accidentally deleted the notes and didn't know it was happening until we were live and just had to do it without notes. So there you go.
So great. So what are a few descriptor words you could use for self-assurance?
In 2 columns, here are some descriptor words: independent, autonomous, self-determining, confident, certain, introspective, influential, an early adopter.
And what unique perspective does self-assurance bring to a team?
A steady certainty that can help take on challenges that the team might otherwise shy away from. I think that steadfastness in the face of adversity, a belief in what they can contribute, and a release of what they cannot. Clear and consistent awareness of what they bring to the team, and clear and consistent awareness of what others could bring in a way that's better than they could. Again, that's why it's not I can do this, I've got everything. Self-assurance is not about being a one-man band. It's about knowing what you contribute and what other people contribute, and kind of standing real firm in that.
It's super powerful, and I think it's going to be powerful in number 5.
Because number 5 is strong teams are magnets for talent. Another way to spot a strong team is to look for the one that everyone wants to be a part of.
Yeah, and what specifically attracts people to this?
There is a very attractive quality in certainty. Unwavering, unquestioning clarity that can accelerate a team when they need to take action. Sometimes, especially in times of chaos, what you need most is not the option to explore. It is someone to have an internal truth that they trust so that you can get your feet underneath you and move forward. Typically, people with self-assurance don't believe they can and should do everything. But when it comes to their own self-concept, they do have that kind of certainty about their own talents and how they can best contribute and how they can best serve others. And that sets other people up really well.
Pretty great that we're talking about that quality right now. You may be listening to this in other times than April 2020, but things are a little chaotic. And so as we think about this gift that self-assurance brings to a team, what else might be there that people want more of?
Sometimes the influence of self-assurance can be loud. And I think as we're describing it, it sounds outwardly powerful. But it's important to realize sometimes it can also be quiet. It can look like a sense of faith that blankets people together, or builds them up so that they can do hard things with more assuredness. When you have to go to battle on something, you want someone with self-assurance who believes in their gut in what you're fighting for. And this doesn't have to be battle in the sense of you're winning and someone else is losing. It doesn't even have to be conflict. It can look like education. It can look like influence. It can look like storytelling. It can just be lending that kind of certainty in a way that inspires other people to grow.
Micah, I'm going to ask you in the post show. So for folks who join us live, that's the opportunity to come out and ask questions. Somebody asked a question about self-assurance and belief. So we'll talk about those two a
Yeah.
little bit in the post show. Let's review those 5 again.
Results, not conflict. Do what's best for the organization and then move forward. Work and personal lives matter. Embrace diversity. Magnets for talent. You might want to think about those 5 as you evaluate your own team. What currently are you doing great? What are you stumbling on? And really, great teams aren't about picking and choosing some sort of dream sequence or being balanced across all 4 domains. Great teams honor the talent that they have so that they can solve the challenge in front of them.
We've been spending some time at the end of this season, as well as season 5, talking about talent mindfulness. You have another exercise for us today. What do you have?
So, this is a practice for you, realizing that strengths based development is not simply naming a talent. It's not even just claiming and valuing a talent, it's aiming it. And what we mean by that is that practice of intentionally creating action that utilizes the best of yourself in a way that only you can do. It takes courage, it takes creativity. Sometimes it takes a coach or a podcast or other external support to acknowledge that there are ways of going about your day and your life that are more aligned to who you naturally are. And in that acknowledgement, bravely admitting those ways might be different than what's popular. They might be different than what's written in a book or different than what you've been taught. So join me for the next 3 to 5 minutes. We're going to focus on your best ways of going about your life, exploring your day, and reaching your goals. You might want to close your eyes if that's available to you. If not, just take a deep breath in through your nose and release. You can breathe out through your mouth. One indicator of when we're truly in our dominant talents is our energy. We know when we're operating from our optimal patterns of thinking and feeling and behaving that we can work harder during those times and we can work longer. We experience greater focus. We solve problems more nimbly. We have more fun doing it. When you work really hard at something, you create energy. You can visualize this by thinking of your own hard work as generating electricity. When your neurons are firing at the top of their ability, imagine that work powering one single light bulb. During moments of real flow, when you're totally in that talent stream, that light bulb shines bright and consistently. When you're working in patterns that don't feed your talent, you can keep the light on, but there are more flickers. It's not as bright, it's not as consistent, and it takes more work to get there. Now imagine if you had a way to capture that light that you're creating, a container to hold all the energy you generate when your light is shining at its brightest, its best, its most consistent. If you had a container to capture all of that, you'd realize the energy that you create from your moments in the talent zone is marvelous. It's valuable. It doesn't fit in a container. It overflows even as you try to keep it in. So, as you're working really hard, as you're sweating and striving and thinking and solving and communicating, you are creating something. That energy is powerful. It's also fragile. Today, I want you to consider the energy you create when you're at your best so that you can protect that energy for yourself and for the people you love. We're going to reverse engineer this by focusing on energy as the outcome and hopefully find a couple clues to your talent along the way. Here are 3 important questions to help you do that. Number 1, over the past 48 hours, what were you doing when you felt a significant boost in energy? I'll ask it again. Over the past 48 hours or 2 days ago, What were you doing when you felt a significant boost in energy? Number 2, shorten the time frame. During the past 24 hours, what were you doing that required you to reach deep into your energy reserves in order to get going? Something that drained or strained your energy. I'll ask it again. During the past 24 hours, what were you doing that required you to reach deep into your reserves of energy in order to get going? Something that drained or strained your energy. And the third and final question is this: over the next 12 hours, what can you do that will help you preserve or simply enjoy your own energy for yourself and the people you love? Third one's a big one. It's a challenge. So I'm going to ask it again. Over the next 12 hours, what can you do that will preserve or simply just help you enjoy your own energy for yourself and for the people you love? That is your talent mindfulness for today.
Mike, I have to admit, my energy is different now than it was just an hour ago when we started, right? And since this, over the last couple of weeks, it's been interesting to see all of our registrations and live programs have doubled, which has been great to have. We hope that this is bringing, and folks are showing up in larger groups because it's bringing you more energy. So we hope for that. And I know I experienced it myself today. I do these things, and coming. So Micah, thanks for being a great partner to me in this, in just building that energy in as we're doing this together. Yes, even in your job, these things can happen. We want to remind everyone to take full advantage of all the resources we have available now in the new Gallup Access. Head out to gallup.com/CliftonStrengths, kind of the easiest way to get into Access. You can sign in there, take you right to your strengths dashboard, a great way to kind of experience it. And then while you're on gallup.com/CliftonStrengths, we have tons of resources that are available for you out there. Lots of stuff to read, visualize. You can watch these videos. All that stuff is out there. It might be a good opportunity to just get to know it a little bit during these times. While you're there, bottom of the page, subscribe to the Clifton Strengths community newsletter. That's available for you once a month, kind of keep you up to date on everything that's going on in the Strengths community. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to us. You'll get a notification when we produce a video or we go live. A great way to have a reminder. If you're not listening to us as a podcast and you want to do that, just search Gallup Webcasts on any one of our platforms. You'll see we have 7 or 8 different podcasts that are available for you out there. Subscribe to them. Great opportunity to learn. Maybe some things have changed for you during this time. Maybe they haven't. Maybe we're all back to work and everything's going well and you just want to subscribe. So get that done today. If you have any questions, you can send us an email, coaching@gallup.com. If you want to attend live, and live is just way more fun. So, I mean, if you're listening to the recorded version, no, we wouldn't take anything away from it, but live is a blast and we'd love to have you here. If you want to know whenever we're live, head out to gallup.eventbrite.com and follow us there. You'll get a notification. Just about every day during the week, I am posting something new, just kind of a great way to stay up. Download the calendar invite. You'll get some reminders. That's really the value to subscribing and the value to registering for one of our events that's available. Speaking of events, we're excited to announce that the 2020 Gallup at Work Summit is going to be completely virtual this year. And so if you're always wishing like, oh, I always wish I could go, but I could never go to Omaha. Well, we have a solution for you today. GallupAtWork.com. And we have some special pricing that's available for everybody out there. We'd love to have you join us virtually for that as well. And that is coming up June 2nd, right? Do I have that right? Is it on the 2nd?
June 2nd. It's Tuesday.
June 2nd is the day for that yet. I haven't said that officially yet, so that's pretty cool. Join us on our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/called to coach. If you're on LinkedIn, maybe you're not on Facebook, or maybe you want to do LinkedIn as well. Clifton Strengths Trained Coaches, just search for that group. Ask to be invited in, and I will let you in there as well. We want to thank you for joining us today. We'll stay around for a little bit of a post show here at the end. With that, we'll say goodbye, everybody.